Atlanta has seen its fair share of scandals, but nothing compares to what just came to light about Kirk Frost. The whispers started small, murmurs in beauty shops and late-night social media lives, but now it has exploded into the biggest storm yet. Hidden behind the Frost family's polished image, an alleged secret bank account has surfaced, one that Rasheeda never knew existed. Fans are shocked, emotions ran high, and the family was left divided when rumors turned into receipts. Imagine scrolling through your feed only to see screenshots of statements, amounts so staggering that even longtime followers of Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta could hardly believe their eyes. How did Kirk manage to keep this hidden? Who helped him? And most importantly, what does this mean for his marriage? Rasheeda, the woman who built an empire beside him, is reportedly devastated. Sources claim she broke down in tears the moment she realized money that should have supported their household, their children, and their brand had been stashed away elsewhere. The betrayal cuts deeper than any affair could. It is about trust, about years of sacrifice, about putting family first while someone else played with shadows and silence. Fans are already choosing sides. Some argue Rasheeda should have seen the red flags. Others insist Kirk's cunning ways have no limit. Everyone wants answers, and the drama is only just beginning. Kirk himself has remained eerily quiet, refusing to comment publicly. But in Atlanta, silence speaks louder than words. Could this account have ties to Jasmine Washington? Could it be connected to the string of secretive meetups people swear they spotted Kirk attending? The questions swirl faster than the answers can come, and the tension is at a boiling point. Stay tuned, because what you're about to hear will shake the foundation of the Frost legacy and leave you wondering who you can trust when even family hides secrets this big. Under the dim glow of Atlanta's restless nightlife, the whispers about Kirk Frost's secret bank account had already spread like wildfire. The city was buzzing, fans scrolling through screenshots, insiders spilling unverified receipts, and gossip pages feasting on every rumor. But nothing hit harder than the moment Rasheeda came face to face with the reality that her husband, of decades, might have been living a double life, not only in love, but in finances. When the first screenshot leaked, a string of withdrawals and deposits reaching figures that made no sense for someone who claimed transparency at home, fans were quick to draw their conclusions. They said Kirk was playing a dangerous game, moving money in silence while smiling in public. And when Rasheeda saw it, her entire world cracked. She reportedly slammed her phone on the counter, her voice trembling as she whispered to a close friend, "After everything, after all these years, how could he?" The drama escalated when Jasmine Washington's name got dragged into the storm. Fans began pointing out strange coincidences, claiming Kirk's unexplained cash might have ties to Jasmine, the very woman who had already ripped his marriage apart with her past claims. Social media boiled over, fans writing, "He never changed, he just got better at hiding it," while others begged Rasheeda to walk away once and for all. Insiders close to the Frost household painted a picture of chaos, Rasheeda crying behind closed doors, her boys overhearing arguments that turned the once quiet mansion into a battlefield. One source described a scene where Rasheeda shouted, "You built this empire with me, Kirk, and now you betray me with money." Her voice cracked as Kirk stood silent, hands shoved in his pockets, eyes shifting anywhere but her face. But Kirk wasn't completely silent. When pressed by a longtime friend who dared to question him, Kirk allegedly muttered, "People don't know what's really going on. Not everything is what it looks like." Yet the tone carried more guilt than defense, and that was enough to fuel suspicions further. The secrecy wasn't just in the numbers. It was in the way Kirk dodged every question, the way he retreated into his office, locking the door while Rasheeda paced outside demanding the truth. Meanwhile, fans online dissected every possibility. Was the account tied to a potential new child? Was it money funneled to fund Jasmine's lifestyle? Or worse, another woman altogether? The mystery deepened when an unverified email surfaced showing Kirk's name linked to a hidden property just outside Atlanta, a quiet suburban home purchased in cash. Fans began connecting dots, suggesting the hidden bank account wasn't just for spending, it was funding an entire secret life. The word "secret family" trended on Twitter, with fans tagging Rasheeda and urging her to see the truth. Rasheeda's pain only grew as more details emerged. She reportedly called up Carly Red, her longtime friend and occasional frenemy, for advice. Carly, never one to hold back, allegedly told her, "Girl, I've been warning you about him. You don't know half the things Kirk has done. If you don't act now, he's gonna take you down with him." Those words cut Rasheeda even deeper because they weren't from a hater or a troll. They were from someone who had watched the Frost marriage bend and nearly break for years. Late one night, Rasheeda was overheard sobbing into the phone, speaking to her mother. "Mama, I gave him everything. I built with him, I forgave him when no one else would. And now this. Now money. Her mother's voice, stern and protective, told her plainly. You don't let no man play with your heart and your pockets. The conversation made it clear. This wasn't just emotional betrayal. It was financial survival. The streets of Atlanta buzzed louder the next day when a fan allegedly spotted Kirk at a quiet diner in Buckhead, hunched over with papers spread out on the table. The fan claimed he was reviewing bank slips with a mystery man, someone no one recognized from the usual Frost entourage. Pictures quickly leaked online showing Kirk shielding his face, his body language defensive. Comments flooded. Look at him plotting again. He's always scheming. Rasheeda deserves better. Things came to a boiling point when Rasheeda confronted him publicly during a family gathering. Sources say the Frost home turned into a scene straight out of a soap opera. Rasheeda, unable to hold her anger any longer, shouted in front of their kids and close relatives. You think I'm stupid? You think I don't know about the bank account? Who is it for? Kirk. Is it Jasmine again? Gasps echoed through the room. The children wide-eyed, and Kirk's silence only deepened the wound. When he finally spoke, his words did nothing to heal. You don't understand, he said coldly. This was never about you. The betrayal in those words broke Rasheeda in half. Fans later described her as looking shattered, mascara streaking her face, her voice trembling as she told him, never about me. Then who is it about? The family was left divided. Some sided with Kirk, believing maybe he had reasons hidden from the public, while others rallied around Rasheeda, insisting she deserved every truth after decades of loyalty. Rumors spun wilder when Jasmine herself took to Instagram, posting a cryptic story with the words, "Funny how money always finds its way back to me." Fans immediately interpreted it as a dig, a direct reference to Kirk's exposed account. Rasheeda reportedly saw the post and threw her phone across the room, screaming in rage. Friends close to her said that was the moment she realized this wasn't just numbers on paper, was a betrayal tangled with old wounds that had never healed. Atlanta's nightlife pulsed with gossip, every club and lounge echoing the same story. Kirk Frost, the man who once built a name beside Rasheeda, had been exposed again. Emotions ran high, fans argued online, and hashtags like hashtag Kirk Frost exposed and hashtag Team RASHEED flooded social media. As one fan put it, first it was cheating, now it's money. Rasheeda, how much more can you take? But the story was far from over. The leaked screenshots were only the beginning, and as more receipts surfaced, deeper ties and bigger secrets would unravel. What came next would not only threaten Kirk's reputation but also shake the very foundation of the Frost legacy, leaving everyone to question whether love, loyalty, and money could ever exist together without destroying everything in their path. Under the flashing lights of Atlanta, the whispers had become roars, and Kirk Frost found himself at the center of a storm no one saw coming. The news of a secret bank account had blown up every corner of the city, from the salons to the studios, from the streets to the clubs. But behind the gossip, there was a truth unraveling in the Frost household that left Rasheeda in a state no fan had ever imagined. Her tears, her rage, her disbelief, it all came crashing down like a tidal wave. This wasn't just about money, it was about betrayal, trust, and a legacy crumbling right in front of everyone's eyes. Rasheeda had always been the rock, the queen who held it down through Kirk's scandals, through the affairs, through the humiliation of Jasmine Washington's shocking revelations years ago. But this time, it was different. She had stood by him when everyone screamed for her to leave. She had said forgiveness was the path to strength. And now, she found herself asking, what strength do I have left when he keeps breaking me? The story began to unfold on a quiet Tuesday afternoon. Fans recalled seeing Rasheeda post a cryptic message, "Trust is fragile. Once broken, nothing is ever the same." At the time, it seemed like one of her motivational quotes. But hours later, gossip sites posted screenshots of what they claimed were bank statements tied directly to Kirk's name. The numbers were staggering: transfers of thousands of dollars made in secrecy, dates that matched moments Kirk had sworn he was struggling, times when Rasheeda herself had dipped into her own funds to cover family expenses. The betrayal was in black and white, undeniable. When Rasheeda confronted him the first night, sources say, her voice trembled as she held up the printouts. "Kirk, what is this? Who are you hiding money for?" she demanded. Kirk's face went blank, his lips pressed tightly together, and his eyes refused to meet hers. The silence cut sharper than any lie could. "Answer me," she cried, slamming the papers against his chest. Finally, he muttered, "Not everything is what it looks like." But that wasn't enough. It was never enough. Friends close to the couple revealed that the fight escalated so loudly that the children overheard. One of the boys reportedly knocked on the door, asking if everything was okay, only to hear their mother's sobs. That moment shattered Rasheeda even more, her private pain spilling into her children's world. "You did this to us," she screamed at Kirk. "You didn't just betray me, you betrayed your family." As the news spread, the streets of Atlanta turned into a chorus of opinions. Fans divided into camps, some defending Kirk with theories of business moves gone misunderstood, while others blasted him as a manipulator who had finally been caught red-handed. "This is worse than cheating," one fan tweeted. "This is financial betrayal. He was plotting while she was grinding." Hashtags like #TeamRasheeda and #Kirk exposed trended overnight. And even celebrity blogs weighed in, claiming the Frost empire was in shambles. But what made everything spiral even further was Jasmine's sudden appearance in the conversation. The woman who once shook the Frost marriage to its core was back, this time without saying a word. Fans noticed Jasmine liking tweets about the bank account scandal. One particular tweet read, "Men hide money the same way they hide side families." And Jasmine's subtle tap of approval was enough to ignite chaos. "She knows something," fans said. Why else would she be engaging? The idea that Kirk's secret account might be tied to Jasmine's lifestyle became the city's hottest rumor. Insiders swore they had seen Jasmine riding around in a new luxury car just weeks prior, her designer bags and flashy wardrobe raising eyebrows. Where's that money coming from? Fans speculated. The dots began to connect in everyone's minds. Kirk's hidden funds and Jasmine's sudden glow couldn't be coincidence. Rasheeda, heartbroken and furious, reportedly confided in her mother late into the night. "I built everything with this man, Mama. I held him down when the world called him a joke. And now I'm the fool all over again," she sobbed. Her mother, stern and protective, didn't sugarcoat it. "Baby, he's been playing with your loyalty for years. Money is just the latest game." Those words struck a chord in Rasheeda's soul, and fans could feel the tension building toward an inevitable explosion. The very next day, Kirk was spotted at a quiet diner in Buckhead. Papers spread out before him as he sat across from an unknown man. Paparazzi-style photos hit the internet within hours, showing Kirk shielding his face, visibly tense. "He's plotting his next move," one caption read. The images only fueled the fire, proving to fans that Kirk was hiding more than he was admitting. Why isn't he home fixing things with Rasheeda? People asked. Why is he out here in meetings? The Frost household became a battlefield of words. During another heated argument, Rasheeda reportedly screamed, "Do you even care about me? About us? Or has this all been a business deal to you?" Kirk, his voice lower but just as sharp, responded, "You think you know everything, but you don't. I had reasons." Those words, instead of easing the pain, only tore open deeper wounds. "Reasons?" Rasheeda snapped. "What reason could there ever be to betray me like this?" Friends of the family painted the picture vividly. Dishes breaking, doors slamming, and long nights where Rasheeda cried alone while Kirk buried himself in his office. The emotional distance grew like a canyon, one too wide to ever cross. Fans, meanwhile, took to the internet with relentless speculation. Some believed Kirk had been funneling money into a property under someone else's name. Rumors swirled of a house in the suburbs, purchased in cash, a place where Kirk allegedly spent nights away from home. Others suggested the money was tied to a business front, perhaps an investment gone wrong. The wildest theory, though, was the one that trended for days. #Secret Family. Fans whispered that Kirk might be funding an entirely separate life, complete with children that Rasheeda didn't know about. What made matters worse was when Jasmine herself dropped a cryptic Instagram story. "Against a black background," she wrote. "Funny how money always finds its way home." The timing was impeccable, almost too perfect, and fans immediately linked it to Kirk's scandal. "She's taunting Rasheeda," one follower wrote. "She knows exactly what's going on." Within minutes, screenshots of Jasmine's post went viral, and the internet erupted. Rasheeda saw it too. Sources say she hurled her phone across the room in a fit of rage, her screams echoing through the house. "She never stop haunting me," she yelled, tears streaming down her face. That was the breaking point. The bank account wasn't just a financial betrayal anymore. It was a wound tied directly to the scars Jasmine had left years before. The Frost legacy, once a picture of resilience, now stood on shaky ground. Emotions ran high. Fans debated endlessly, and Atlanta itself seemed to pause as everyone watched what would happen next. Kirk Frost, the man who built a brand with his wife, was once again under fire. This time in a way that money, apologies, or even time might never fix. And as the days passed, more receipts threatened to come out. The question was no longer whether Kirk had a secret bank account. The question was how deep the betrayal ran, and how much more Rasheeda could take before she made the choice. Fans had been urging her to make for years, to walk away and never look back. But deep down, everyone knew this was only the beginning. What was hidden in those accounts, in those meetings, in those late-night calls, would soon unravel into something so explosive it would leave not just the Frost family but the entire city of Atlanta in shock. And the next revelation would be bigger, louder, and more devastating than anything yet revealed. The fallout from Kirk Frost's secret bank account wasn't just a storm. It was a full-blown hurricane tearing through every corner of Atlanta. The whispers had turned into headlines, the screenshots into proof, and the Frost family into a spectacle once again. The Frost Empire, which Rasheeda had worked so tirelessly to polish, was unraveling thread by thread in front of millions of eyes. And this time there was no escaping the glare of public judgment. Inside the Frost mansion, the air was tense, thick with anger and silence. Rasheeda, who had always been the one to hold her composure even in the most humiliating scandals, finally cracked. She paced the living room, tears in her eyes, holding the stack of receipts that fans had already dissected online. "Kirk, why?" she cried out, her voice echoing off the marble floors. "I gave you everything. I trusted you when nobody else did. Why would you do this to me?" Kirk sat slouched in the corner, his face stone, his arms crossed as if building a wall around himself. "You don't know the whole story," he muttered, almost under his breath. But Rasheeda heard every word. "The whole story," she repeated, her voice rising with each syllable. "You hid money from me, from your family, from the people who put us where we are. What story could possibly make that right?" Her voice broke as she choked back sobs, mascara streaking her cheeks. The kids, hiding upstairs, whispered among themselves, afraid to come down. The once warm and lively home had turned into a battlefield, with every slammed door and every shouted word adding to the chaos. Outside the walls of their home, the drama was just as intense. Blogs released new claims daily. One site alleged that Kirk had used the account to purchase land outside Atlanta. Another swore they had documents linking the funds to a business in Jasmine, Washington's name. Fans pieced together the puzzle with the dedication of detectives. Screenshots circulating faster than Kirk or Rasheeda could deny them. And then, the unthinkable happened. A video leaked online showing Kirk walking into a bank with a woman who is not Rasheeda. The woman's face was partially hidden under a cap, but the internet erupted in theories. Was it Jasmine? Was it someone new? Comments flew like wildfire. "He's bold enough to take her to the bank. This man doesn't care about his family at all. Rasheeda deserves so much better." The video broke Rasheeda in ways no one could have imagined. She reportedly saw it and collapsed into a chair, whispering, "He's not even trying to hide it anymore." The pain in her chest was deeper than the betrayal of infidelity. It was financial, emotional, spiritual. Fans said she looked like a woman carrying the weight of the world, and in many ways, she was. But Kirk wasn't about to let the world dictate his narrative. Insiders claim he began reaching out to producers, planning how to spin the scandal on upcoming episodes of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. "They'll never understand unless they see the full picture," he reportedly told a close associate. But fans weren't buying it. "This isn't storyline drama anymore," one tweeted. "This is real life, and it's ugly." Rasheeda, meanwhile, found herself surrounded by support from unlikely places. Carly Red showed up at her door, bringing wine and tough love. "I told you years ago, sis," Carly said, shaking her head. "He's been playing games from the start. Now the money's involved, and you can't just sweep this under the rug. This could ruin you." Rasheeda, broken and exhausted, whispered back, "I don't know if I have the strength to fight anymore." Yandi Smith, hearing about the situation, even chimed in from New York. She posted on social media, "Marriage is about partnership. If one person is hiding, there is no partnership." Fans applauded her words, interpreting them as a subtle show of solidarity with Rasheeda. But Jasmine wasn't staying silent either. She posted yet another cryptic Instagram caption, this time with a photo of her sipping champagne. "When you invest in me, the return is always worth it." The timing was brutal, and fans flooded her comments, calling her out. "This is disgusting," one wrote, "You're playing with someone's marriage." But others egged her on, enjoying the chaos. The scandal escalated further when Kirk's own sister reportedly confronted him. "You've embarrassed this family for the last time," she said, according to insiders. "We stood by you when everyone else called you a liar, and this is how you repay us." Kirk brushed her off, muttering, "Family doesn't understand business." But that phrase only added fuel to the fire. making it clear that Kirk was willing to justify anything under the guise of business. As more receipts surfaced, fans began to suspect the account wasn't just about Jasmine or another woman. Rumors spread that Kirk had been funneling money into projects without Rasheeda's knowledge. Investments that could backfire and leave the Frost Empire in ruins. He's gambling with their future, one fan wrote. And she's the one who'll have to clean it up. The tension reached its peak during a dinner party meant to bring the family together. Instead, it turned into the most explosive confrontation yet. In front of relatives and friends, Rasheeda stood up, slamming her hand on the table. Do you know how it feels to be humiliated over and over again by the same man? She demanded, her voice trembling. Everyone fell silent as she stared directly at Kirk. Do you know how it feels to give your life to someone only for them to treat you like you're nothing? Tears streamed down her face as Kirk finally stood, his expression unreadable. You think I'm the villain, Kirk said slowly, but everything I did was for us. You just don't see it yet. Gasps filled the room. Rasheeda's face contorted with disbelief. For us, she screamed. You call hiding money, meeting other women, lying to your wife for us. You're not saving this family. Kirk, you're destroying it. The family was left divided. Some tried to mediate, others took sides, and the night ended with doors slamming and voices raised. Fans later learned details from guests who couldn't hold back, and once again, the Frost name was plastered across every blog, every gossip page, every timeline. Emotions ran high. The betrayal was undeniable, and while Kirk continued to insist there was more to the story, Rasheeda's breaking point was clearer than ever. The question was no longer whether their marriage could survive it, was whether Rasheeda would finally walk away from the man who had hurt her time and time again. And as the world watched, hungry for the next revelation, one thing was certain. The scandal had only just begun. The next leak, the next piece of evidence, would either expose Kirk completely or reveal a twist no one was prepared for. Atlanta was holding its breath, waiting for the bombshell that everyone knew was coming. Days turned into nights, and the Frost mansion felt more like a haunted house than a home. Rasheeda wandered through the halls in silence, her footsteps echoing against the walls that had once been filled with laughter and music. Now every corner carried the weight of betrayal. She scrolled endlessly through her phone, reading comments from fans who begged her to leave him once and for all, and others who insisted she never walk away. She loves him too much. But deep down, Rasheeda wasn't sure herself anymore. The tension grew heavier when new allegations hit the blogs. One popular gossip site released what they claimed were wire transfer receipts showing Kirk sending thousands to an account linked with Jasmine Washington. The receipts, whether real or fabricated, spread like wildfire. Fans immediately assumed the worst. He's still funding Jasmine behind Rasheeda's back, one post read. This man never learns. The comments tore through Rasheeda's heart as if knives were being twisted over and over again. In a dramatic twist, Jasmine decided to stir the pot even further. She went live on Instagram, sipping wine and laughing as fans flooded the comments with questions about Kirk. Y'all so messy, Jasmine said with a smirk. I don't owe nobody no explanation, but let's just say, some people know where their investments belong. She winked at the camera before ending the live abruptly, leaving thousands of fans screaming into their phones. Within minutes, clips of her live flooded Twitter, captioned with bold claims. She basically admitted it. Jasmine just confirmed Kirk is behind her lifestyle. When Rasheeda saw the clips, something inside her snapped. She stormed into the living room where Kirk was sitting with his laptop. So it's true, she demanded, her voice shaking but fierce. You're still giving her money? After everything we've been through, after everything you put me through, you're still choosing her. Kirk slammed the laptop shut and stood up, his face tense. You don't know what you're talking about, he barked, but his denial lacked conviction. Then tell me I'm wrong, Rasheeda cried, tears streaming down her face. Look me in the eye, Kirk, tell me you're not still supporting Jasmine. Kirk's lips parted, but no words came out. The silence was louder than any confession. Rasheeda clutched her chest as though the air had been ripped out of her lungs. Meanwhile, Atlanta was on fire with the story. Club promoters, radio hosts, even local politicians whispered about the Frost scandal. It was no longer just gossip, it had become a full-blown cultural moment. People debated it in barbershops, beauty salons, and church pews. If Rasheeda stays after this, it's over for her brand, one fan argued. Another countered, but you can't tell a woman when to leave. Love is complicated. To make matters worse, a mysterious new player entered the story. An anonymous source leaked a voice recording allegedly featuring Kirk talking to a banker. In the recording, a man's voice eerily, similar to Kirk's, discussed setting up accounts that can't be traced back to my wife. The clip sent shockwaves across social media. Fans replayed it over and over, dissecting every word, every pause, every inflection. Some insisted it was undeniable proof. Others said it could have been doctored, but the damage was already done. The Frost name was once again dragged through the mud. Rasheeda, desperate for clarity, called her longtime friend Candy Burris for advice. Sitting across from each other in Candy's kitchen, the two women spoke in hushed voices. "Girl, I don't even know what to believe anymore," Rasheeda admitted, her voice trembling. Candy reached across the table, squeezing her hand. "You don't need to believe the blogs. You need to believe what's right in front of you. Actions don't lie, Rasheeda. And his actions are telling you everything you need to know." That night, back at home, Rasheeda confronted Kirk again. "I've given you chance after chance," she said, her voice calmer but filled with pain. "You've embarrassed me, you've broken me, and now you've taken money out of the hands of your own family. I need to know why. Why would you do this to us?" Kirk finally broke his silence. His voice low, almost a whisper. He said, "I was scared. I needed a backup. I didn't think you'd understand." The words hit Rasheeda like a slap. "A backup," she repeated. "After everything I sacrificed for you, you still needed a backup." Kirk nodded, shame in his eyes. "I didn't want to lose everything if things went wrong. I had to protect myself." The admission was worse than any denial. It wasn't about love. It wasn't about partnership. It was about Kirk looking out for himself at the expense of his wife, his kids, his empire. Rasheeda collapsed into tears, whispering, "You already lost me, Kirk. You just don't realize it yet." Outside the Frost home, paparazzi had gathered, hungry for a photo, a soundbite, a glimpse of the fractured family. Every move they made was under scrutiny, every emotion magnified for the world to consume. The Frost Empire was crumbling, and the world was watching every second of it. But deep in the shadows, more secrets lurked. Whispers of another woman, another property, and even darker truths waiting to be uncovered. The question wasn't if they would come out, it was when. And everyone in Atlanta knew the next revelation would be the most explosive yet. Everyone in Atlanta knew the next revelation would be the most explosive yet. The next revelation came faster than anyone expected. Atlanta woke up one morning to a leaked folder of documents that spread like wildfire across gossip sites, group chats, and Instagram stories. The files allegedly contained proof of Kirk Frost's financial dealings, accounts in different states, properties under shell companies, and transactions that painted a picture far bigger than one secret bank account. Fans couldn't believe their eyes. This man wasn't just hiding a little money, one tweet read. He's been running an entire underground empire. Rasheeda, scrolling through the chaos on her phone, felt her chest tighten with every screenshot. Transfers to luxury car dealerships, payments to names she didn't recognize, and then, the one that broke her, the account linked to Jasmine Washington. Her hands shook as she stared at the numbers, amounts that dwarfed anything she had ever received as his wife. "So she's the one you've been protecting," she whispered to herself, her tears blurring the screen. When she confronted Kirk again, this time there was no yelling, no slamming of doors. Her voice was steady, icy, filled with a kind of heartbreak that words couldn't fully capture. "You didn't just betray me," she said softly, her eyes locked on his. "You built another life with my sweat, my grind, my loyalty. How could you?" Kirk sat across from her, his face pale, his body heavy as if the weight of the entire city's judgment had landed on his shoulders. "I never meant for it to go this far," he admitted. "I thought I was protecting us from losing everything." "Protecting us?" Rasheeda shot back. "You were protecting you, and in the process, you destroyed us." The kids overheard again, their faces filled with confusion and pain. One of them finally asked the question no one wanted to say out loud. "Dad, are you leaving us?" The silence that followed was more devastating than any argument. Kirk didn't answer. He couldn't. Atlanta was in chaos too. Clubs played mixtapes mocking Kirk's situation. Radio stations debated it live on air. And social media feeds were filled with memes comparing him to every infamous cheater and scammer of the past decade. Emotions ran high as fans picked apart every new piece of evidence, each detail darker than the last. Then Jasmine struck again. She posted a picture of herself outside what looked like a new home, her caption reading, "New Beginnings." The timing was brutal, and fans immediately connected it to Kirk's leaked properties. He bought her a house with his secret money, one blog screamed. "This is beyond disrespect." Within hours, hashtags like hashtag Kirk and Jasmine trended alongside hashtag Team Rasheeda. Rasheeda, crushed by the photo, reportedly collapsed onto her bed, clutching a pillow as tears soaked through. "How much more humiliation do I have to endure?" she cried to a close friend over the phone. Her friend urged her to leave, to reclaim her dignity. But Rasheeda's heart was torn between love, loyalty, and the empire she had helped build. In the middle of the storm, Kirk tried to salvage control. He called a family meeting, insisting that everyone needed to hear his side. The scene was tense. Rasheeda sat stiffly on one end of the couch, her arms crossed, while their kids lingered nearby, nervous and silent. Kirk stood, his voice heavy. "I know I've made mistakes. I know I've hurt all of you. But everything I did was to make sure we never ended up with nothing." Rasheeda's eyes burned into him. "We already have nothing, Kirk," she said bitterly. "Because without trust, without love, without honesty, all the money in the world doesn't mean a damn thing." The family was left shattered, unable to find common ground. Kirk's words failed to heal the wounds, and Rasheeda's pain was too raw to forgive. Fans later speculated that this meeting was filmed for the show, that producers were circling like vultures, ready to turn the Frost tragedy into ratings gold. Outside the family, even Kirk's friends began to distance themselves. One longtime associate reportedly told him, "You went too far this time, man. Ain't nobody gonna defend this?" Kirk's response was chilling. "They don't have to understand. I'll always find a way to come out on top." But the cracks in his empire were showing. Business partners hesitated to answer his calls. Fans swore they'd boycott his ventures, and the Frost name was no longer associated with resilience but with deceit. The man who had once stood proudly beside Rasheeda now looked like a shadow of himself, exposed, cornered, and despised. And yet, in the middle of all the destruction, rumors began to surface of an even bigger betrayal, whispers of another woman, another child, and another account that no one had dared to touch yet. The city braced itself, because if those rumors were true, the scandal was about to explode into something so catastrophic it would bury the Frost legacy forever. The whispers about another woman and another child spread through Atlanta like wildfire, hitting every corner of the city before Kirk Frost could even catch his breath. Blogs screamed headlines in bold, "Kirk Frost's secret life finally exposed." Radio hosts fueled the fire, asking callers if they believed Kirk had managed to hide yet another scandal from Rasheeda. The public couldn't get enough, and each new rumor felt bigger than the last. Rasheeda, drained and heartbroken, tried to hold herself together, but the weight of it all was crushing her. She sat at her kitchen table one night, scrolling through the latest gossip on her phone. Her hands trembled as she read a post that claimed Kirk had been funding not one but two properties, one for Jasmine, and another for a mysterious woman identified only as T. The blog insisted there were receipts linking Kirk's secret account to monthly deposits sent directly to this woman. Rasheeda slammed her phone down, tears brimming in her eyes. How many lives is he living? She muttered to herself. She called her mother, her voice breaking. "Mama, it's like I don't even know him anymore. I don't know how many times I can be humiliated before I break completely." Her mother, stern as always, told her, "Baby, love don't mean letting a man drag you through the dirt. If he's building another family, you need to think about your own future." The tension reached a boiling point when a leaked audio clip hit the internet. The recording, allegedly of Kirk on the phone, captured him saying, "She doesn't need to know about this account. As long as Jasmine and the baby are taken care of, I'm good." The words shook the city. Fans replayed the clip 1,000 times, convinced it was his voice. "That's him," one fan wrote. "The same tone. The same way he talks. It's him." When Rasheeda heard the clip, her knees buckled. She dropped to the floor, sobbing, whispering, "He promised me. He promised it was over." Her tears weren't just about the money anymore. They were about years of trust shattered over and over, scars reopening with every revelation. Kirk, cornered by the storm, tried to fight back. He went live on social media, his face stern and voice sharp. "Y'all don't know what you're talking about," he said, his tone defensive. "Blogs lie, fans twist things, and everybody wants to see me fall. I ain't got no secret family. Stop believing everything you see." But his live did little to help. Fans flooded the comments with snake emojis calling him a liar, demanding he show proof. "If you're innocent, why not show the receipts?" One comment read, "Where's the transparency?" Jasmine, of course, added fuel to the flames. She posted a photo of herself at a fancy restaurant, captioned, "Taken care of." The internet exploded. "She's mocking Rasheeda again," fans wrote. "She knows she's winning this game." Rasheeda reportedly saw the post and broke down, screaming, "She never stop until she takes everything from me." Her cries echoed through the house, leaving her kids terrified and confused. Atlanta itself seemed to vibrate with the drama. Promoters hosted club nights themed Kirk's secret account party. Radio shows ran segments where fans called in to share whether they thought Rasheeda should stay or leave. The Frost scandal had become a cultural moment, bigger than music, bigger than reality TV, It was the story of betrayal, money, and heartbreak on the grandest stage. The turning point came when Rasheeda decided to confront Kirk one last time. She waited until the kids were asleep, then sat across from him at the kitchen table, the leaked receipts spread between them. Her voice was calm but cutting. "I don't care what the fans say. I don't care what the blogs say. I care about what you say. Are you funding Jasmine? Do you have another family?" Kirk stared at the papers, his jaw tight, his fists clenched. Finally, he whispered, "I was just trying to keep everyone happy." The words hit her like a knife. "Everyone," Rasheeda repeated, her voice breaking. "Everyone except your wife." She stood, her tears falling freely, and walked away, leaving Kirk sitting alone with the evidence of his betrayal spread across the table. The city buzzed with anticipation. Fans knew the next episode of Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta, would capture the meltdown, the tears, the confrontation, and the fallout. But off-camera, the Frost household was cracking at the seams. Friends whispered that Rasheeda was packing bags. Others swore Kirk was planning damage control with producers. And the fans, they were holding their breath, waiting for the next bombshell to drop. And as the rumors grew darker, one question echoed louder than all the rest. Was this the final straw for Rasheeda? Or would she once again try to hold together a love that had been shattered beyond repair? The city of Atlanta had always thrived on drama, but nothing compared to the storm swirling around Kirk Frost and his secret bank account. The scandal wasn't just headlines anymore, it had seeped into every conversation, every household, every fan base. People who had never even followed Love and Hip Hop suddenly knew every detail, every rumor, every whispered betrayal. And at the center of it all was Rasheeda, a woman crushed under the weight of loyalty, humiliation, and a heartbreak that seemed to never end. The night the second wave of documents leaked, Rasheeda sat in her closet with the door locked, her knees tucked to her chest. She scrolled through her phone, her heart racing as she read the latest receipts, property deeds, car titles, and endless cash transfers. It wasn't just about Jasmine anymore. There were other names, initials she didn't recognize, payments to T, Carter, M, Hall, and S. Andrews. She stared at the screen in disbelief. "How many women are there?" she whispered into the dark, her tears streaming silently. Her mind raced back through the years, remembering every late night Kirk said he was handling business, every mysterious phone call, every sudden trip out of town. It all started to make sense, and the realization nearly broke her. "I was the fool all along," she whispered. "I defended him. I stood by him, and all this time he was building lives with other people." The next morning, Kirk stumbled into the kitchen, his face heavy with exhaustion. Rasheeda sat at the table, her phone in hand, the new documents pulled up. She slid the phone across to him. "Explain this," she said quietly. Kirk looked down, his jaw tightening. "These aren't what they look like," he muttered. Rasheeda slammed her hands on the table, her voice cracking with rage. "Stop lying to me. Stop lying to everyone. You've humiliated me enough." The kids, sitting silently in the living room, froze at the sound of her screams. The youngest covered his ears while the oldest whispered, "Not again." It was a house divided, and the pain seeped into every corner of their home. Outside, Atlanta was on fire. Fans weren't just gossiping, they were investigating. Self-proclaimed internet detectives pulled up property records, compared dates on receipts, and matched transactions to luxury items Jasmine and other women had flaunted on social media. One fan even posted a thread showing how Jasmine's vacations lined up perfectly with large withdrawals from Kirk's secret account. He was literally funding her lifestyle while Rasheeda was running businesses. The post read. It went viral, garnering millions of views and sparking endless debates. But Jasmine wasn't backing down. She went live again, this time more direct than ever. Sitting in a plush living room, champagne glass in hand, she said, "People always want to judge, but at the end of the day, nobody takes care of me better than me. I'm good, always have been, always will be." The smirk on her face was enough to ignite a war. Fans flooded her comments, calling her out, while others cheered her on for owning her truth. The live ended with Jasmine blowing a kiss to the camera, a move fans swore was aimed directly at Rasheeda. Rasheeda saw the clips almost immediately. Her body trembled as rage consumed her. "She's laughing at me," she whispered to herself. She grabbed her keys, storming out of the house. Insiders say she drove straight to Jasmine's neighborhood, parking her car outside just to see if she'd come out. She sat there for nearly an hour, her hands shaking on the wheel, tears rolling down her cheeks. "You won't win," she whispered into the night. "I won't let you take everything from me." Meanwhile, Kirk was spiraling in his own way. Caught between trying to save his marriage and protecting his empire, he began calling producers, lawyers, and friends. "We need to control the story," he said urgently during one call that insiders later leaked. "If the show gets this first, I can spin it. I can make it look like business." But fans weren't buying it. "This isn't storyline drama anymore," one comment read. "This is real life, and he's drowning." The next family dinner turned into an all-out war. With relatives gathered around the table, Rasheeda finally broke her silence in public. Slamming her hand against her plate, she shouted, "How many more women? How many more accounts? Do you even know what loyalty is, Kirk?" Her voice shook, but the fire in her eyes was undeniable. Kirk, visibly cornered, tried to defend himself. "You don't understand the pressure I've been under," he said. "Everybody depends on me. I had to find ways to protect us." Rasheeda snapped back, her voice piercing the air. "Protect us? By hiding money, by giving Jasmine houses and cars while I was building our businesses. That's not protection, Kirk, that's betrayal." The room fell silent as relatives avoided eye contact, the weight of the scandal pressing down on everyone present. The fight spilled into the night, with Rasheeda packing bags in front of Kirk, her tears soaking her clothes as she stuffed them into suitcases. "I can't live like this anymore," she sobbed. Kirk begged her to stop. "Don't do this. Don't let them win," he pleaded. But Rasheeda's mind was made up. "You already let them win," she whispered, "the moment you chose them over me." The next morning, paparazzi swarmed as Rasheeda was spotted leaving the Frost mansion with her luggage. Fans cheered her on online, writing, "Finally, she's free," while others wondered if this was just another cliffhanger for the show. Regardless, the image of Rasheeda walking away, her face streaked with tears, became the defining photo of the scandal. But Kirk wasn't finished. He called a press conference, standing before cameras with a stern face. "I've made mistakes," he admitted, "but I'm not the monster y'all think I am. Not everything you've seen is true." The speech, meant to save his reputation, only made things worse. Fans mocked him online, posting memes and calling his words hollow. "If you were innocent, you wouldn't have to defend yourself," one fan wrote. And then came the bombshell no one expected. A woman identified only as T. Carter stepped forward, claiming Kirk was the father of her child. She showed what she claimed were text messages, photos, and even financial receipts proving Kirk had been supporting her in secret. The revelation sent Atlanta into chaos once again, with fans screaming, "Not another baby. This man never learns." Rasheeda, upon hearing the news, collapsed into the arms of a friend. "I can't do this anymore," she cried. "He's destroyed everything we built. Everything." Her pain echoed through the city, leaving fans heartbroken for her, furious at Kirk, and desperate to know what would happen next. The Frost Empire wasn't just cracking, it was collapsing in real time. And as Atlanta held its breath, one thing was certain: the story was far from over. Darker secrets were still buried in Kirk's accounts, and when they came to light, the fallout would leave nothing standing. The scandal had reached a point where even people outside Atlanta were glued to the chaos. News outlets in New York, Los Angeles, and Miami picked up the story, plastering Kirk Frost's face next to bold headlines about hidden accounts, secret families, and betrayal. It wasn't just local gossip anymore, it had become national drama. And every new piece of information dragged the Frost name deeper into the mud. Rasheeda barely recognized her own life anymore. The boutiques she once proudly ran now felt like cages, fans whispering behind her back as she walked through her own stores. "That's her," someone whispered one afternoon. "That's the woman Kirk betrayed." She kept her head high, but the moment she was alone in her car, she broke down, gripping the steering wheel and sobbing until her chest hurt. "How did I let it get this far?" she whispered to herself. Kirk, meanwhile, was losing control. The leaks wouldn't stop. One night, a new set of files surfaced showing offshore accounts tied to his name. The amounts were staggering, hundreds of thousands hidden away, money that Rasheeda never knew existed. Fans screamed online, "He's been planning an escape. He was saving for another family." Rasheeda built his empire while he built a way out. The betrayal deepened with every new document, and Rasheeda's heart crumbled further. She confronted him again, late at night, her voice raw from crying. "Do you know what it feels like to wake up every day and see proof that your husband has been lying to you for years? Do you know what it feels like to realize the life you built is nothing but a lie?" Kirk sat on the edge of the bed, his head in his hands. "I didn't want you to find out like this," he whispered. The words sent Rasheeda into a rage. "You didn't want me to find out at all," she screamed. "You wanted me to keep playing the fool while you built lives with other women." The fight grew louder, spilling into the hallway where their kids stood silently, their faces pale. One of them shouted, "Stop fighting," but their voices were drowned out by the chaos. It was a scene too painful for anyone to witness, but the entire city already knew the Frost home had become a war zone. The next day, Jasmine struck again. She posted a picture of herself in front of a luxury SUV with the caption, "Blessed and highly favored." Fans didn't need confirmation, they immediately tied it to Kirk's secret money. He bought her that car. 1. It to Kirk's secret money. He bought her that car. 1. Comment, read. He's flaunting his betrayal right in her face. The post went viral within minutes, and Rasheeda saw it, her chest tightening with rage. She threw her phone across the room, screaming, "She won't stop until she destroys me." But Jasmine wasn't the only problem anymore. The mysterious T. Carter, the woman who had stepped forward claiming Kirk fathered her child, produced more evidence: photos of Kirk holding the baby, text messages where he allegedly promised to always take care of you both, and Cash App receipts showing regular payments. The internet went into meltdown. Not another baby. Fans screamed, "This is worse than we thought." Memes flooded timelines, showing Kirk with multiple children lined up behind him, each labeled with a different woman's name. Rasheeda, humiliated beyond words, retreated from the public eye for days. Insiders say she locked herself in her bedroom, refusing to eat, her eyes swollen from crying. Close friends begged her to see a therapist, but Rasheeda could barely speak. "He's ruined me," she whispered. "He's ruined everything." Kirk, desperate to regain some control, reached out to producers of Love and Hip Hop, pushing for his side of the story to be filmed. "If I don't get ahead of this, it's over," he told them. But fans weren't interested in his excuses anymore. They flooded the show's social media pages, demanding, "Don't give him a platform. Let Rasheeda tell her story." The streets of Atlanta buzzed with every new rumor. At barbershops, men debated whether Kirk was a villain or just a hustler caught in the spotlight. At beauty salons, women shook their heads in disgust, saying, "Rasheeda deserves better." Churches even mentioned the scandal in sermons, using Kirk's betrayal as a warning about greed and dishonesty. The Frost scandal wasn't just entertainment, it had become a morality tale. The final blow came when another woman, this time a former employee of one of Kirk's businesses, came forward claiming she had been secretly involved with him. She alleged that Kirk promised her financial stability in exchange for silence, and she produced screenshots of bank transfers as proof. Atlanta erupted once again, fans screaming, "How many more are there? This man has no limits." Rasheeda, hearing the news, broke down in front of a friend. "I can't do this anymore," she sobbed. "Every time I think it's over, another woman comes forward. Another receipt. Another lie. I don't even know who my husband is." Her tears stained her cheeks as she whispered, "I've lost myself in his lies." The Frost legacy was collapsing in real time, and the entire world was watching. Kirk stood alone, despised, his empire crumbling under the weight of his secrets. Rasheeda, broken but not defeated, began to realize that this wasn't just about money or betrayal, it was about reclaiming her life, her dignity, and her power. And as Atlanta buzzed with rumors of divorce papers, secret children, and lawsuits, one thing was certain: the scandal was far from over, because buried deep within Kirk's accounts were still more secrets waiting to come to light. Secrets so explosive they would shake not just his marriage, but the entire reality TV world to its core. Atlanta had seen scandals before, but nothing on this scale, nothing with this level of destruction. The Frost Empire wasn't just cracking, it was collapsing in real time, each day bringing another bombshell that left fans, friends, and family gasping. What started with whispers of a secret bank account had grown into a web of offshore funds, luxury properties, designer cars, and women stepping out of the shadows one by one. Kirk Frost, the man who had once been respected as Rasheeda's partner, was now the city's most despised husband. And the pain wasn't just public, it was tearing his home apart, ripping his marriage to pieces in front of millions. Rasheeda sat in her boutique late one night, long after the employees had gone home, surrounded by racks of clothes she once loved. Her head hung low as she scrolled through the newest leaks, her hands trembling with each swipe. Another woman had come forward, this one a former employee from one of Kirk's businesses. She had shown screenshots of payments, text messages where Kirk allegedly promised her stability in exchange for silence. And just like that, the internet erupted again. Fans flooded timelines with outrage. "How many more are gonna come forward?" they demanded. "He's been running game on every woman around him." Her phone buzzed with a call from Carly Red, the one friend who never sugarcoated the truth. Rasheeda answered with a broken voice. "I can't take this anymore," she whispered. Carly's tone was sharp but filled with concern. I told you years ago, sis. He's been playing you. And now the world sees it too. You can't let him keep dragging your name like this. Rasheeda wiped her tears, her voice cracking. I stood by him when nobody else would. I defended him when the whole world laughed at me. And this is how he repays me. The next morning, Kirk tried to reach out. He walked into the kitchen where Rasheeda sat silently, sipping coffee with dark circles under her eyes. We need to talk, he said, his voice heavy. She didn't even look up. I don't want to hear it. He sat down across from her anyway, his hands folded nervously. I know it looks bad. I know people are talking, but not everything you've seen is real. Rasheeda finally looked at him, her eyes filled with fire. Don't you dare insult me like that. I've seen the receipts. I've seen the transfers. I've seen the way Jasmine flaunts her gifts like trophies. Don't stand there and tell me it's not real. Kirk's voice rose, frustration spilling over. You think you know everything, but you don't. I had reasons. Rasheeda, I had to protect myself. Protect us. She slammed her hand on the table, her voice shaking with rage. Protect us. You were protecting yourself, while I was building our businesses, raising our kids, defending you to the world. You were hiding money and funding other women. Don't you dare call that protection. Their kids, listening from the hallway, exchanged nervous glances. One of them whispered, "They're fighting again." The youngest covered his ears, tears welling in his eyes. The sound of their parents' voices, once a source of comfort, had become a daily reminder of their crumbling family. Outside their home, Atlanta was on fire. Gossip pages posted new content hourly. Fans dissected every rumor like detectives. Memes flooded the internet. Kirk photoshopped with dozens of kids trailing behind him, captions mocking his endless scandals. Radio shows ran polls asking listeners if Rasheeda should finally leave. The results were overwhelming. 89% said yes. The breaking point came when Jasmine went live again. This time bolder than ever. Sitting in the driver's seat of her new SUV, she smiled into the camera, her nails tapping against the steering wheel. You know, some people just don't know how to let go, she said coyly. But when you're taken care of, you don't worry about the noise. She winked, and fans erupted. She's mocking Rasheeda, they screamed. She's basically admitting Kirk is behind her lifestyle. Rasheeda saw the live within minutes. Her body shook with rage, her tears blurring her vision. She grabbed a glass from the counter and hurled it against the wall, the shatter echoing through the house. She won't stop until she ruins me, she sobbed. She won't stop until she takes everything I've built. Kirk walked in just as the glass shattered. What are you doing? He shouted. Rasheeda turned to him, her face streaked with tears. Look at her. Look at Jasmine mocking me, mocking our family, and you're the one who gave her the power to do it. Kirk's face hardened. Don't blame me for her games. Rasheeda's voice cracked. Don't blame you. She wouldn't have anything to flaunt if it wasn't for your dirty money. The fight escalated into the night, neighbors overhearing the shouting through the walls. You destroyed me. Rasheeda cried. You destroyed us. And for what? For her, for them, for a life that never included me. Kirk's voice broke, his anger collapsing into desperation. I never wanted to lose you. I never wanted this. Rasheeda shook her head, her voice quiet now. You already lost me, the moment you chose them over me. The fallout was immediate. Fans captured footage of Rasheeda leaving the house with suitcases, her face hidden behind sunglasses. Paparazzi swarmed, shouting questions, but she stayed silent, her tears hidden but her pain visible in every step. The photos went viral, fans posting them with captions like "Finally free" and "Queen deserves better." But Kirk wasn't ready to give up. He scheduled a press conference, standing before cameras with a stern face. I've made mistakes, he admitted, but a lot of what you're seeing has been twisted. I never stopped loving my wife. I never stopped caring for my family. Loving my wife. I never stopped caring for my family. I just made bad decisions trying to handle business. But his words rang hollow. Fans mocked him online, flooding comments with snake emojis and calling his speech pathetic. And then came the twist that turned the scandal into an inferno. The mysterious woman T. Carter released photos of Kirk holding her baby, smiling at the camera. She posted them with the caption, "Since he won't admit it, here's the truth." The internet exploded. Fans screamed, "Not another child." The photos spread faster than wildfire, shared across every platform, dissected on every blog. Rasheeda saw the photos and collapsed to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. He lied to me again, she whispered, her voice breaking. He promised it was over. He promised there were no more secrets. Her friends rushed to comfort her, but the damage was done. Her heart was shattered, her trust obliterated. Atlanta couldn't stop talking. The Frost scandal was bigger than any storyline, bigger than the show itself. People debated in churches, at cookouts, in classrooms. She has to leave him, one woman said at a salon. If she stays after this, she's done. Others argued, love is complicated. You don't just walk away from decades overnight. As the days passed, Kirk found himself isolated. His phone calls went unanswered. His business partners distanced themselves. And even some of his closest friends refused to defend him. You went too far this time, one associate reportedly told him. This ain't just cheating. This is betrayal on every level. Kirk's response was chilling. They'll hate me today, but I'll still win tomorrow. But it didn't feel like winning. It felt like drowning. Rasheeda, meanwhile, began to find her strength. She met with lawyers quietly, considering her options. I have to protect myself. I have to protect my kids, she said in hushed tones. She didn't want to make a public statement yet, but her actions spoke volumes. Insiders whispered that divorce papers were being drafted. That Rasheeda was ready to finally walk away from the man who had dragged her through years of pain. And the fans. They were waiting, watching, holding their breath, because if Rasheeda filed for divorce, it wouldn't just be the end of a marriage, it would be the end of the Frost legacy. The final collapse of everything Kirk had built and destroyed with his own hands. But just when everyone thought the story had reached its peak, another leak surfaced, one so explosive, so damaging, that it threatened to end Kirk's career, his marriage, and his reputation forever. Atlanta was no stranger to gossip, but the Frost scandal had turned the city upside down. The chatter never stopped, not in the streets, not in the salons, not even in the churches. Kirk Frost's name was on every tongue, not in admiration but in disgust. The whispers about offshore accounts, hidden families, and betrayal had now grown into a roar so loud that even Kirk himself could not drown it out. The newest leak landed like a bomb. An anonymous source dropped a folder of emails and photos linking Kirk to yet another woman, a former promoter he had allegedly been involved with years ago. The emails suggested Kirk had been sending her money monthly, disguised as business expenses, but the attached photos told a darker story. There he was, smiling at dinners, standing close to her in hotel lobbies, holding her child in his arms. Fans zoomed in on the photos, convinced the child looked eerily like Kirk. Another one, they tweeted, "This man is out here building an army." Rasheeda saw the leak late at night, alone in her bedroom. The silence in the house was suffocating, broken only by the buzz of her phone as notifications poured in. Her heart sank as she scrolled through the images, each one another dagger in her chest. She whispered to herself, I can't keep living like this. Her tears fell hot onto her hands as she gripped the phone, her entire body trembling. Kirk walked in moments later, his face pale, his shoulders heavy. You saw it, he said flatly. Rasheeda looked up at him, her eyes red and swollen. Saw it? I've seen enough to last me a lifetime. I don't even know who you are anymore. Her voice cracked with pain, but there was steel underneath it now, a strength she hadn't shown before. It's not what it looks like, Kirk muttered, sitting on the edge of the bed. Rasheeda laughed bitterly, wiping her tears. You've been saying that for years. When you were caught with Jasmine, it wasn't what it looked like. When the bank account surfaced, it wasn't what it looked like. When the baby rumors started, it wasn't what it looked like. Kirk, at what point do I finally believe my eyes instead of your lies? Kirk buried his face in his hands, his voice muffled. I didn't want you to find out like this. Rasheeda snapped, her voice rising. Stop saying that. You didn't want me to find out at all? You wanted me to keep living in the dark, smiling for the cameras while you lived double, triple, quadruple lives behind my back. You've destroyed me, Kirk. You've destroyed everything. The kids overheard again, their hearts breaking as their parents' voices filled the house. The oldest whispered, she's gonna leave this time. I can feel it. Outside their home, the city buzzed. Fans debated not. Some defended Rasheeda, praising her strength. Others criticized her for staying so long. She should have left years ago. One post read, how much humiliation does it take? But others sympathized. It's not easy to leave decades of love, kids, and businesses behind. The arguments lit up every corner of social media, making the Frost scandal the #1 trending topic in America. Jasmine, never one to stay quiet, poured gasoline on the fire. She posted a selfie with the caption, when the truth comes out, it always comes back to me. The comments section erupted. Fans accused her of mocking Rasheeda, while others claimed she was hinting that Kirk was still involved with her. She's heartless, one comment read. She's proud of destroying a family. But Jasmine seemed unfazed, smiling into the camera as if she thrived on the chaos. Rasheeda, however, was reaching her breaking point. She confided in Candy Burris again, meeting her in private to pour out her soul. I can't keep doing this. Candy, she whispered, tears streaming down her face. I've been humiliated, I've been betrayed, and now the whole world sees me as the fool who stayed. I don't even recognize myself anymore. Candy squeezed her hand, her voice firm. Sis, you don't owe him anything. You've carried him long enough. It's time to carry yourself. The advice hit Rasheeda hard. She went home that night, her mind racing, her heart pounding. She stood in the living room, staring at the family photos on the wall, smiles that now felt like lies. Kirk walked in, his face tense, his voice low. We need to talk. Rasheeda shook her head. No, Kirk, I'm done talking. I've wasted too many years talking. Now it's time to act. Their confrontation exploded into the biggest fight yet. Voices echoed through the house, neighbors hearing every word. You made me Rasheeda screamed. You made me defend you while you were out here funding women, babies, and secret lives. Kirk fired back, his voice desperate. You think I wanted this? You think I asked for this? I was just trying to keep everything together. Rasheeda's laugh was bitter, sharp. Together, you've been tearing us apart for years. She pointed to the door, her finger trembling. Get out. Kirk froze, his eyes wide. What? She repeated, her voice breaking but strong. Get out of this house. I can't look at you anymore. The kids watched from the staircase, tears in their eyes, as Kirk grabbed his keys and walked out, slamming the door behind him. The sound reverberated through the house like a gunshot. Rasheeda collapsed onto the couch, sobbing uncontrollably, whispering, It's over. It has to be over. The internet exploded when paparazzi caught Kirk leaving the mansion that night, his face grim, his car speeding away. Blogs plastered the photos with captions like Kirk kicked out and Rasheeda finally takes a stand. Fans flooded timelines with messages of support for Rasheeda, calling her a queen for finally choosing herself. But Kirk wasn't ready to disappear. Days later, he resurfaced with a shocking move, sitting down for a tell-all interview with a major outlet. He spoke slowly, his face lined with regret. I know I've made mistakes, he said. I know I've hurt my wife. But not everything you've heard is true. Some of these women are lying. Some of these receipts are fake. I'm not the monster they're painting me to be. But fans weren't convinced. The comments were ruthless. Classic gaslighting. One wrote, He's only sorry because he got caught. Rasheeda didn't respond publicly, but insiders revealed she was already in talks with lawyers. Divorce papers were being drafted, assets being reviewed. The Frost Empire, once a symbol of partnership, was now a battlefield of lawyers and court filings. Friends close to Rasheeda said she was preparing for the fight of her life, determined to protect her children and her businesses from Kirk's implosion. The city buzzed with rumors of the upcoming court battle. It's gonna be messy, one insider said. The accounts, the properties, the women, it's all coming out. Fans couldn't wait, eager for every detail, every twist, every heartbreak. And then, just when everyone thought the scandal had reached its peak, another bombshell dropped. When everyone thought the scandal had reached its peak, another bombshell dropped. A leaked video surfaced, allegedly showing Kirk in an intimate moment with a woman who was not Rasheeda, not Jasmine, not T.I. Carter, but someone entirely new. The video spread like wildfire, crashing servers, dominating headlines. He never stopped. Fans screamed. He's been living a lie the entire time. Rasheeda saw the video, her body trembling as she covered her face with her hands. I can't escape this, she sobbed. Every time I think it's over, there's more. More lies, more women, more humiliation. Her voice broke as she whispered, He's destroyed me, but I won't let him destroy me completely. She stood that night in front of a mirror, staring at her reflection. Her face was streaked with tears, but her eyes burned with determination. I'm done, she whispered. For real this time, I'm done. And with that, Rasheeda Frost, the woman who had stood by her husband through scandal after scandal, finally decided to walk away. The divorce papers were filed within days, and Atlanta erupted once again. Fans cheered her strength. The internet flooded with hashtags like hashtag Team Rasheeda and hashtag Queen Energy. Kirk, once the head of the Frost Empire, was now a man alone, his secrets exposed, his marriage destroyed, his legacy in ruins. But the story wasn't over, because in Atlanta, secrets never stay buried for long, and as the dust settled, fans couldn't help but ask what other truths were still hiding in the shadows, waiting to explode.